What's going on today, YouTube family? We are behind the wheel of a 2024 Honda CR-V Hybrid. This particular one is a front-wheel drive model. We're going to go over all of the powertrain configuration and features on the inside, take a walk around. Of course, I will post up on the screen cargo configuration and size as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So this CR-V that we have here was a vehicle that we bought from auction. I'm not sure if it was a repossession or what the case was with its status before we got it, but it's only got 3,300 miles on it, so it is definitely fairly new, and it is of course a 2024. Since I've had so much seat time with the new CX-50 hybrid, I wanted to compare this to that and see how they felt. Everybody knows that the CX-50 borrows all of its powertrain components from the RAV4 hybrids, so definitely wanted to check out the difference between that 2.5 liter with dual electric motor versus this particular one being a 2 liter with a single electric motor. Let's go ahead and make sure everything is on and step outside and take a look. Now this one is in a very nice shade of blue. I'm pretty sure Honda just borrowed this color from Acura and called it a different name. This looks very much like Apex Blue to me. It's got these black wheels, which look very nice on this car as well. Thicker sidewall tires, smaller rims, so that's going to aid in not only the ride but the fuel economy as well. And I will post the fuel economy figures now so you can see that. This vehicle comes with all of Honda's standard safety features, so full speed adaptive cruise control, lane censoring, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, road departure mitigation, pedestrian detection, automatic high beams. It's got all the things. Blind spot monitoring is also standard on this trim level as well. These black door handles did not come that way. That is something that we accessorized on the vehicle once we got it. But again, this one is not all-wheel drive. And the only thing that annoys me about this car is that it has 2 of these exhaust outlets, but only one actually has a pipe in it. So something to also note while we're back here, as the CX-50 and the RAV4 hybrid do have true dual exhaust, which you will see emissions coming out of both instead of just one. Back here, unlike the CX-50, it has a super low load level, so cargo space is going to be more generous in this vehicle. You've got some bigger storages off to the side as well, and then the seats do fold down 60-40 split as well, and they fold completely flat. So total cargo configuration and seats up, seats down, I will post both of those as well. This car does run on regular gas. Back here, materials do not carry out, so it's hard touch plastic, but you do still get a nice stitched door there. And then these really cool orange stitching in these leather seats looks good as well. And almost nearly completely flat floor back here, which will make like sliding TVs and things in and out easier. And then this one has just one mat pocket instead of 2. You do get vents back here and 2 USB-C ports, and then cup holder and armrest. These seats do recline a really generous way too, so that's good for comfort. And yeah, this is your view as a middle seat passenger of the front. If it looks familiar, it is because this is pretty much ripped out of an Integra, so, or a Civic. They all are kind of just copy and paste at this point, which is good for production costs, but not so good for just looking interesting. Up here on this particular trim level, you do get 2-person memory as well. All the windows are one touch up and down, which is a very nice feature that a lot of luxury automakers have on their cars. You do get a powered driver's seat with 2-way lumbar as well. Side impact airbags are standard, and of course you get knee airbags and side curtain airbags, all that sort of thing. One thing different than this on the Integra is that it doesn't have, at this trim level, automatic wipers, which for some people is not a big deal, but you do get a wireless charger, dual zone automatic climate control, which literally this is pulled straight out of an Integra, and then 3-stage heated seats for both the driver and front passenger. Let's go ahead and take a look at the engine bay. Now again, where the CX-50 hybrid and RAV4 hybrid are a 2.5 liter inline four, this is a 2 liter inline four, and you're looking at a total system output of 204 horsepower. So it's down 15 horsepower over the CX-50 and the RAV4 hybrid, which just on a little drive down here I did notice. Also, I think that the eCVT in those vehicles is better than the setup that this has. This seems to have a more instant response, but depending on who you ask, this is just fine for them. I will say that this does get better gas mileage than the CX-50 hybrid, at least it does on the sticker, but it is right on par with the RAV4 hybrid. This one does have front and rear parking sensors, which is really nice. You get full LED illumination in the front, and then Honda cheaped out in the back. The previous generation had full LED illumination in the back as well, but now you do get an incandescent turn signal, which in other markets is LED. So again, just another example of the Japanese companies just stiffen us because they can. Let's go ahead and hop in, take it for a quick spin, and talk about driving dynamics. All right. Very easy to get used to. The shifter in this car is traditional. No knobs, no buttons, no switches. Anybody can get in this car without studying it first and kind of just drive away. It does have Honda's / Acura's 10-inch display here with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is wireless, and no built-in navigation. But for most people, that's not going to be a big deal because they're going to hook up their phone anyway. The only time it could be a concern is if you're driving someplace and you just don't have great cell service, then built-in nav would come in handy. But how often do you do that? I will say it's a lot easier to keep this car in EV mode than it is the CX-50 or the RAV4 hybrid. Those want to jump out of EV mode with seems like every press of the gas. This is a very smooth vehicle. The ride is good so far over some of these broken surfaces. And I love the steering wheel. It's very thick in the right places.
He's thick, boy! That's a thick ass boy!
It's got really high quality leather on it, and the steering is definitely heavier than a RAV4. I think it's probably right on par with a CX-50. There are no off-road modes or trail mode like you get on the CX-50 in this car. I'm not sure if that changes with the addition of the all-wheel drive, which again is optional, standard on the CX-50 hybrid. So there may be a trail button or something like that. It does have a hill descent control on this car, but no dedicated off-road or trail modes. I think tire noise is a little bit more pronounced in this car than it is in a RAV or CX-50, but I'm gonna get it out on the highway and really see about the road noise and wind noise as well. And then so also the way that Honda CVT is set up, I do believe that this is a traditional CVT and not a eCVT like the RAV4 and the CX-50. And even still, just with programming, you can make anything do anything these days with electronics. But this particular vehicle seems like it is more focused on trying to convince you that it is a traditional automatic, which is clearly not. And because it's shifting, there is a pause and a slight delay in power, where the CX-50 and the RAV4 sort of just keep you in that power band the entire time. So that's one place where I notice driving dynamics are a bit different. I'm going to put it into sport mode here. And so there is some augmented sound that I'm hearing in sport mode. And again, it's shifting, which is not actually shifting. So I'm not sure why they felt the need to incorporate that. Maybe they felt that people don't like CVTs, which most people don't. And they wanted to, again, mimic a traditional stepped automatic, but it just actually doesn't do anything. But the noises and you can see the power meter moving around like it's a tachometer, but I don't find that to be useful in any way. Definitely louder with respect to road noise and tire noise. Wind noise is pretty subdued, but tire noise is definitely more pronounced in this than it is in either of the other two that we've discussed so far. It does also have paddle shifters, which I guess, you could... Did y'all see those two big ass vultures? Jeez. Which I guess you could manually take over and mimic the shifts yourself, but I don't even see the point, so I wouldn't even bother with those. Now, I would use them to downshift, because that puts more energy back into the battery. It helps you to slow down as well. But other than that, I don't really see the point of those in a hybrid either. Now, obviously, I would assume with the all-wheel drive system, this would probably handle a bit better than this front-wheel drive model, because it definitely didn't feel nearly as sure-footed as the CX-50 hybrid. But even the RAV4 with the same powertrain as that car doesn't feel as sure-footed as the CX-50 does. The CX-50 is in a class of its own with respect to handling. So where this car rides maybe just a little bit softer than a CX-50, the CX-50 outhandles this by a good margin. And as a Honda person, I am kind of sad to report that, but it is what it is. This vehicle definitely has significantly more body roll and lean as well. And again, it is a slightly softer suspension, so that is to kind of be expected. But again, just something I noticed just driving it. Doesn't handle bad, but you cannot by any means push this as hard as you can a CX-50. That is for sure. But I really do like the steering wheel. We're gonna put it into sport and do a 0 to 60. All right, really quick. So again, I'm sure with the all-wheel drive system, that would have been a much better and more efficient takeoff. But even with front-wheel drive, once the traction control system sorted it out, that extra power from those electric motors being instant is something to kind of throw the system off a bit. But once it figures it out and appropriates power the right way and then gives you all of the power, it gets up to speed very well. Yep, bunch of vultures. Jeez. So yeah, I still think this is a great driving, great handling car. And I see why people like them. And for the average person buying this car, they don't care about 0 to 60. They don't care about how it handles. It's just an efficient vehicle that looks nice, rides well, has lots of space. This is definitely bigger than both a RAV4 and a CX-50 hybrid. Back seat space is definitely more generous, and cargo space. Neither one of them have a load floor as low as this does, and they definitely don't have the cargo space. 0 to 60 for this vehicle should be somewhere in the 8-second range, low 8-second range. With the all-wheel drive system adding that additional traction off the line, I would imagine this could be even quicker. But this is the slowest out of the hybrid SUVs that it competes with. So the RAV4 hybrid is faster, and obviously so is the CX-50. Not by much. We're talking maybe a half second. So the fact that they took the time to put the augmented sound in this car is interesting, to say the least. I would have taken full LED taillights versus that. I mean, you know. The augmented shifts are quick, I will say that. Or the simulated shifts. But just because I know it's not actually shifting anything, it doesn't seem necessary. Oh yeah, over a bump like that in the CX-50 is definitely more noticeable. So this car, hands down, rides better, for sure. But I think I would be okay with giving up a little bit of fuel economy and softness in the suspension for the way that the Mazda handles. Yeah, the 204 horsepower in this car is still nice. And it's not the 1.5T, so you don't have to worry about any of the issues that engine seems to continuously keep having. Sound like the outside. Yeah, it's actually pretty true to the sound character of this car. Even though it's piped in, it just sounds like it's got a microphone by the intake, and that's just what it sounds like. So at least it's not some crazy noise from some other car or something, you know, that is just not. Sounds pretty similar when you put the window down. So why are you stopping? This is the worst horn in the world. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe. I will say, out of all the RAV4s, out of all of the hybrid 5-seater kind of small SUVs, I don't know guys. Like the driving dynamics of the CX-50, I like the interior of this, and obviously the RAV4 is the RAV4. I will say the RAV4 has the best gauge display. So both Honda and Mazda use a partial analog, partial digital display. Honda does theirs on the left side of the gauge display and then analog on this side. Mazda does in the middle, where there's a digital helper screen that you can also turn into either a digital speedo or an analog looking speedo, and then you have analog gauges off to either side of that, where Toyota gives you a full 12.3-inch digital display, which looks really, really good, especially when you're going throughout the drive mode. So I like some of the technology of the RAV4 better. If you could just combine the handling of the CX-50 with the layout and space of the CR-V hybrid, and then the gauge display of the RAV4, I think that to me would be like the perfect combination. But again, thanks so much for joining me in today's video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.